With the NFL season only a few weeks away, I wanted to do a more updated predictions video. My last predictions video was early in the offseason, right after the draft. A lot of things have happened since, so I want to take that all into account while I'm making this prediction video. I will be picking every single game this NFL season. So in this video, I will be going over to the NFC East. We're going to be going in alphabetical order, so we'll start off with the Dallas Cowboys. Week 1, tough matchup. I'm going to give it to the Super Bowl champs. I just think they have a better team, and I don't think Micah Parsons is going to be there. But they do come back, beat the Giants. They lose to the Bears, though. I don't know. I think they're just going to get off to a bit of a slow start this year. They come back, beat the Packers, then the Jets, then the Panthers. Beat division rival, Washington Commanders. But then the streak ends with the Broncos. It's okay. They win against the Cardinals. And honestly, 6-3 going into the bye, pretty solid. But their schedule doesn't get that much easier. They do beat the Raiders. They split with the Eagles. They lose to the Chiefs. They lose to the Lions. They lose to the Vikings. And then the Chargers. And lose the last 2 games. Yeah, I'm kind of predicting a disaster class. I mean, with how the Cowboys have run this offseason, they've done a pretty poor job. They might end up losing Micah Parsons because they just won't pay him for whatever reason. I don't really have high expectations for Brian Schottenheimer. And, you know, their division is going to be a little bit tougher this year. And yes, they did upgrade their offense with George Pickens, but they did lose a lot on the offensive line. They have 0 run game to speak of. I mean, I would say the first, this middle part of the schedule is definitely the easiest part it'll be. From week 2 to week 11, that's kind of where they need to get all their wins. Also, don't lose 6 straight games to the end of the season. They can definitely do better than 8-9, but, you know, I'm not really expecting much from this season with how they've run this offseason. Up next, we have the New York Giants. This is a bit of a weird team, but we'll get through the predictions before I go on what I think about this team. They lose the first 2 weeks. And then the Chiefs. Rough start to their schedule, but it does get a little bit better. They beat the Chargers. They also beat the Saints. They don't beat the Eagles. That's a tough matchup, and they don't beat the Broncos either. But they still lose to the Eagles. No, they don't split with the Eagles this year, and then they lose to the 49ers. But they do beat the Bears. Not the Packers, though. And 2 straight losses going into the bye. So 4-10 going into the bye. Honestly, you could probably just fire Brian Daboll right here. If they do fire Brian Daboll right around this bye, I think they rattle off 2 wins here. Lose to the Raiders because I think the Raiders can be a decent team. But then they upset the Cowboys at the end of the season to finish 6-11. I don't have high expectations for the Giants, but Jackson Dart has looked good. I will say Jackson Dart has looked good in preseason. That defensive line is scary, and if they start Jackson Dart down here and he looks good, he could definitely rattle off some wins. I don't have much expectations for Russell Wilson. That offense doesn't look great. Hopefully Malik Neighbors can come back to the season. But you know what? The Giants might actually be a fun team to watch this season. Next up, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, we already have the first game selected, and they win against the Cowboys. They beat the Chiefs again. They beat the Rams, beat the Buccaneers. They beat the Broncos, beat the Giants, beat the Vikings, beat the Giants again, and they are undefeated going into the bye. However, things do change a little bit. The Packers get a big upset, but the Eagles take on the Lions and win. They lose to the Cowboys. I don't think they'll sweep the Cowboys, but they do come back, beat the Bears. They beat the Chargers, beat the Raiders. They lose to the Commanders. I don't think they'll sweep them either. The Bills actually take this one. This game can go either way. I'm just going to give the Bills the edge on this one because they have home field advantage. It's not a big advantage since they're basically in the same vicinity, but I do think they just have that slight advantage. And they end the season with a win, which will put them at the 1 seed in the NFC. 13-4. Very respectable record. I think they are in good position to repeat. They did lose some pieces on defense, but I don't think their defense got that much worse. Their offense still looks great. I expect great things from that offense. I think the defense will still be plenty good, even though they did lose their offensive coordinator. So maybe they could lose like a game here and there in this early part of the schedule. But I still think the Eagles are Super Bowl contenders. And now for the last team in the NFC East, the Washington Commanders. A breakout team last year. I think they get off to a good start. They beat the Giants. They beat the Packers. They beat the Raiders. But they do trip up and fall to the Falcons and the Chargers. The Chargers is definitely a long travel. So I think the Chargers are definitely up there in those, definitely upper half of teams. I feel like they're a playoff team, so I don't think the Commanders are that much better. Plus, a road disadvantage. I think this game can go either way, but they beat the Bears at home, lose to the Cowboys, beat the Chiefs in a big upset. I think this will be a big upset, especially in Arrowhead. I think the Commanders can do that. They also win against Seattle at home. Big home advantage. Then they do lose against the Lions. The Lions get a bit of revenge from the playoffs. I think this should be a fairly easy win in Spain for them. I do have them with a slight edge over the Broncos, but this is also another 50-50 game. Can go either way. And I have the Vikings beating them here. And in the last 4 division games, they go 2-2. That leaves them with a respectable 10-7 record. At the time of recording this video, they just traded their starting running back in Brian Robinson. I mean, hopefully their backup, Bill, is able to build on that preseason hype and take on the starting role because they don't got a whole lot back there. Their defense is solid. So that leaves us with the NFC East rankings. In 4th place, we have the Giants with a 6-11 record. Then we have the Cowboys with an 8-9 record. In 2nd, we have the Washington Commanders with a 10-7 record. And in 1st place, we have the Philadelphia Eagles with a 13-4 record. Eagles are a strong team, easily the favorite. I don't have high expectations for the Cowboys. Commanders, maybe if the Eagles falter a little bit, they have a shot. But if the Eagles are as solid as I think they are, I think they run away with this division. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think of these predictions. And I will have another predictions video up tomorrow. So I'll see you guys in that video. Bye.